Hello guys, welcome to the PowerPoint of Crane and Heavy Construction by me, Billy Jaimes. So we're going to be going over the topics of history of cranes, different types of cranes, tower cranes, Texas use, cost, safety, summary, sources, and then a few questions in the slide test your knowledge. So here's a bit of history of the cranes. Shadouf was the first crane that was invented, and it was also known as a water lifting device. It was located in the ancient Greece, and it was used in the Egyptian technology as well. The main difference between how the Greece and the Egyptians powered it was that the Greece only used the men and the animals, mainly being donkeys, to power the crane, while the Egyptians used men, animals, and water to power the cranes. Down the road in the 19th century, steam engines were created, and that's how steam cranes came to be, and they were powered by the steam engines. Now in the 20th century, we have engines and the electric motors and hydraulic system for the cranes. There are many different types of cranes in the construction industry, and here's a few to name. Tower cranes are the big, tall cranes that are mainly located in downtown city areas for big projects and are usually built side by side of the project. Then we have the telescopic crane, which uses a hydraulic cylinder to change its length, and it's on a truck so it's easy to transport. Then we have the rough terrain that uses a four-wheel drive and also has a telescopic boom, which makes it easier to move in tight areas. Then we have the crawler crane, which has a special setup that only uses tracks instead of wheels. Then we have the bulk handling crane that can be easily described as a toy crane in a store. They have a big claw that is used to pick up different materials like coal, scrap metal, and minerals. So in this PowerPoint, we're mainly going to be focusing on tower cranes. And the big question that a lot of people ask themselves when looking at one is, how do they get there? So we use tractor trailer rigs to transport the different pieces of the tower crane. Think of the tower crane as building blocks, and each piece has to be transported with a tractor trailer rig. But before we could get the pieces there, weeks beforehand, we have to set up a concrete pad that weighs 400,000 pounds. That is used to support the base of the crane. And it's usually done weeks beforehand because it's concrete and it takes time for it to be made. Once the tractor trailer rigs arrive, the pieces of the tower are organized and laid out to start being built. And then the tower crane is built side by side of the building, and someone controls the whole crane and does anything that is needed to do. So we have the Texas use slide. And Texas has an enormous amount of construction projects happening daily. And Texas has a lot of big cities. And in any city, you could see a tower crane being used. And one big close example is in Austin, Texas. There are many tower cranes being used right now, with one of them being used for building the Waller. It is under construction at the moment. On the left-hand side, you could see what it's supposed to look like, the final. And then on the right-hand side, you could see the tower crane and its location right now as we speak. The cost. Of course, whenever you're gonna need something, there's always a price. But you could always buy or rent a crane. There's a big range of tower cranes, especially the year and then how long it's been used. With the lowest crane I found was 50,000, and the most expensive was around 480,000 to 500,000. Keep in mind that these cranes have been used and are sold by previous owners. And whenever it comes to renting, you have to rent the tower itself and small cranes to help build the tower. The small cranes go around 200 to 1,000, and then the tower crane itself costs 15,000 per month and around 60,000. It usually includes shipping, but of course once you have it on site to be built, you will need to rent out a mobile crane to use to build the tower crane. And there's always safety precautions that need to be followed in order to prevent anything from happening and any danger to civilians or the workers. So we have electrical hazards, which cranes can come in contact with power lines, and they need to be at a distance of 10 feet danger zone from power lines. Then we have overloading, which is a common hazard, and the people or the operator of the tower crane should know the weight limit of the tower crane, so there shouldn't be any danger of the crane falling or the load falling and fatally killing somebody. There are many risks that could be minimized by following safety precautions. Training is a big factor when it comes to having less risks. The proper training can help the operator and the people from causing any safety hazards. And when it comes to zones, there could be zones that keeps the people distant from the cranes to cause anybody from being harmed by the cranes or being electrified by the cranes if it comes in contact to power lines. There's also PPE, personal protective equipment, and of course everyone who enters the job site has to have proper personal protective equipment. And of course you have maintenance. And maintenance is a very big and important part, especially when it comes to heavy machinery, and this will keep the job running smooth and avoiding any casualties from machinery or any backups due to having low maintenance. So a summary is tower cranes are big heavy equipment that are used in downtown city areas. They are huge and are usually built side by side with the building. They make the job site or the job project run smooth by taking high loads or materials all the way up to the top without any hesitation, without any problems. But of course you have to have high maintenance on them. Make sure the operator knows the weight limit and has everything running smooth. And of course, safety is always first. Here are my sources. And test your knowledge. Here are a few questions to test your knowledge over the PowerPoint, with the first being, what is the first known crane machine named? The second, where was it invented? The third, what do you think is the most financial route to take? The fourth, what is the average weight of the pad used to hold down the crane? The fifth, what are the main 3 safety concerns that are important to you? And the sixth, when was the last time you have seen a tower crane and where? Thank you so much, guys, for joining me on my power slide. I hope you have a great day. Thank you. Bye.